was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way.
Well, hello. It is the Trauma Twins.
Oh, we're live. I didn't realize it.
This
Hi.
is every time.
We're the Trauma Twins. Welcome back.
Yeah. Last time I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of information in that one, and I hope you enjoyed it. But today we're going to kind of bookend that with the second part of the book, where it's more about developing your language with spirit, just what that looks like on a personal level. The first half of the book is a lot of these overarching themes and like experiences with people, but now we want to take it in a direction where this is about you and your relationship with spirit. And really, like, developing a language is a relationship. It's a building upon itself. And so that's where we're going to dive in today. So how would you say developing a language with spirit looks like? What does that look like? How do you start that journey?
I think with anything, when you start something, you start simple and small. So a lot of that can be things that I think back up. Who are you trying to develop language with?
Yes.
First and foremost. If it's somebody who's passed over, that looks different than developing it with your spirit team versus developing it with your higher self.
How so?
So with your relatives, I think you can have certain symbols that are specific to those relatives.
Yes.
Whereas with your spirit team, they're more universal to you in the sense of they make sense for you.
Okay. So let's start there. I like that. So again, we use the term spirit, which is very all-encompassing, but spirit can also mean like angels or guides, people, souls, or entities that are here to help us. They're here to guide us on our soul's mission. And the deeper you go into that, there's so many, a wormhole. But
again,
so
it might
much.
have different meaning for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about your level of awareness, right?
Right.
And that's how spirit knows us, where we're at. So with family members, you can, like, first and foremost, you can always ask. Always ask, because spirit, that was one of her 4 rules. If you ask for help, if you ask for guidance, spirit is going to show up for you. So I want to get you in that mindset, that faith-based mindset, the openness of finding the magic, right? Ask for these signs. Ask spirit to show up for you, because it will. And if you start there, then you're going to start making the connections. Then you're going to start seeing the things manifest, these experiences manifest in your life, right?
And to piggyback off of that, when you're asking, ask for a specific sign.
So you can't
Don't be
rationalize it.
afraid. Yeah. Don't be afraid to say, I want you to show up as a red butterfly. Even if you never see red butterflies, ask for that something specific enough to where you can't talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it's in front of you, and you asked for it, and there's no turning back now.
Because the universe is infinite. And what we have a tendency to do when we over-rationalize or try and put things in a box, we're going to be looking for, a living red butterfly, but all of a sudden you get a package in the mail and there's a red butterfly on the stamp or something.
You're visiting somebody's house and their bathroom art has red butterflies.
You never know, but it's the way spirit, and that's the fun, that's the game, that's the miracle of it.
Shows up everywhere.
Yeah, and it's playful, and it's supposed to bring joy, and that's what
catch you off guard.
Yeah, literally, it's supposed to disarm you, and that's where the soul work happens. Then you realize, oh shit, I am guided. People, like, I'm
never alone.
There is, people on the other side. There is this thing, this entity that loves me unconditionally, that wants my highest good. And then you start internalizing it and wanting it for yourself on a new level.
And feeling joy.
Oh, joy.
You feel a lot of joy.
The world is joyful.
It catches you in those moments of mundane, I find a lot,
Yep.
where you're just kind of going about your day and you're lost in the middle of something, and then all of a sudden you see it and you're just like, oh.
That's what my pennies from Grandpa are, but we'll
Joy.
talk about that in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, finding a penny at the right time, it's pennies are everywhere. They're so
Yeah.
common, but now they have a magical resonance for me that can transform my day or can guide me on a different path.
Totally off subject, and funny because I know we're going to talk about it later, but my mom was recently visiting and she was going into the garage the day that she got there, and I found a penny on the floor. And
Which meant what for you in that moment?
pennies for us are our Grandpa Loisel.
Like a nudge, like,
Yeah, like I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I got you. Which, if anybody understands family, sometimes you need a nudge, like Jesus, take the wheel. So I found a penny, and then the next day we were going out somewhere, and she found a penny, and then the day after that,
but she mentioned it to you. She's like,
no, yeah,
no, yeah.
Then the next day she found a quarter, and she goes, "Your garage is like continuously giving out money, and it's so weird because I've scoured the floor and thought I picked up everything, but every day there's a different coin on the floor." And I was like, Grandpa Loisel.
When we started, okay, again, we're getting off track, but when we started the first day of we started this whole podcast, the morning before she came over, I was, getting everything ready and just trying to get in the mindset and calming and like doing my breaths. And I look over just like from here, and there's a penny right on the floor on the edge of the couch, just a single penny. And it was Grandpa saying like, "Yay, it's
Well, you're
happening.
doing it.
It's happening." It just, anyway.
Which, and I think too, on it of itself, you can kind of rationalize that, but at the same time, I don't ever use cash.
Yeah. Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
I don't have
Pennies
change.
solely
I
mean
don't get
spirit now.
cash back. I use a debit card or a credit card. I don't ever use money. So for coins to be in my life, that's a very strange thing.
Yeah, she says in the book dimes too, I think are really common. Like quarters everyone wants because they have, more value,
Yeah.
but
No.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
interesting. Okay, so let's talk about, we're building this relationship with spirit. So literally, you are building a lexicon. I always love that word because literally it is like a Rolodex. A lot of mediums that I've read or studied, like Tyler Henry, actually, if you follow him, he's the Hollywood medium. He just put out on his Instagram, he did like a visual representation drawings of all the signs he gets from spirit, and like Cancer is a pink ribbon, and like all these
Well, and
things.
he talks about that, like, and I think a lot of them do that. They get impressions.
Yes.
They don't get words.
Pictures or
pictures in the brain,
images.
and it's how they correlate that meaning to it.
Almost like a type of sign language,
Yeah.
literally. Like
Yeah.
it's images, but it's the pattern
The
and the way.
Bashar guy, when he was talking to the
Bashar,
lady
check out
about
Bashar.
how to
TikTok.
communicate with your animals, he was saying send them images, mental images, which can be hard. I think men tend to visually be able to mentally kind of put those two and two together. But for me, I send more of the thought.
Yeah. And it depends on your intuitive type, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think women naturally, and again,
Are visual creatures.
but also, but more intuitive. I
Mm-hmm.
think you're more in touch with your emotions, whether that's culture, society, the upbringing, whatever. So many, just individual. But I think
Which is
it's
better. No, I'm kidding.
well, no, but
No, I'm
seriously,
kidding.
yin and yang.
That's
Yin
not
and
where
yang.
one is better than
no,
the other.
but
yeah.
necessary, and it's getting in touch
Closer
with
to
that,
source,
finding
yeah.
the union in each of us, right?
Yes.
We're both masculine, feminine.
Yes.
Okay, so we're building a language with spirit, and that happens over years. And where I started seeing signs is completely different now, and like
It's just like anything with development. A baby doesn't start off fully
Yeah.
being able to complete sentences. It's a process. It takes time. You have
levels of
to
trust. That's what I was going to say.
you
like,
have to continuously dive into this and be a part and be present
Yes.
for this to happen. It's
Being
not
present.
something that it's just gonna all of a sudden you're communicating with the universe on everything.
But after getting it over and over, even these pennies, like I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, like when I see this now, when I see a certain image, like a certain symbol, I know what it means immediately. There's no question. And so I can use that, and I have that to draw on now as I move forward and navigate my life in a different way completely. Gratitude. We also want to just bring this all back. When you develop your relationship with someone, gratitude's a big part of it. This is a love language. The universe is saying they love you, and you are in essence love. When you respond back, when you thank them,
Acknowledge.
acknowledge it. Don't just let it
People
go
want
by.
to be acknowledged. We
Yeah.
want to be seen. We want to be heard.
Same on the other side, because they get
Exactly.
joy just like we get joy from it.
Yes.
They're growing a lot of
Yes.
the times like we're growing
Yep.
through our experiences. I can't tell you how many times I've heard or read or Judy was telling me, psychic friend Judy, But when people cross over, a lot of times they continue growing with us through our experiences, things they couldn't accomplish in their life.
Yeah.
When you hear all these TikToks.
Or paying back karma.
Yeah, paying back karma. But like the TikToks and Instagram posts that are like, you're healing your generational trauma, that's a lot of what they're talking about.
Yeah, they're with you to do that. That's part of their karma, is they have to help you get through it.
Yeah, and but they also, you're healing the wounds they couldn't, and that helps their souls, evolution as well. So just things to think about. It's all connected. It's all connected,
Always.
whether you see it or not. So just changing your perspective to this universal one, to a more open mindset of, your ripples have more energetic reverberation than you realize. It's just powerful. And if it's grounded and rooted in love and gratitude, it has
And I think
so much
that we
more
have to
potential.
kind of pull that horse back from the cart, in the sense of, in order to do any of this, you have to be present in the now.
Yes.
A lot of what we're talking about means that you are not in the past or not in the future.
What does that mean,
You are
though?
in the moment. So
Worry, right? If you're worrying.
fear, worry, anxiety, all of that stuff. That is, you're not present in the current moment. And so one good book that I would recommend is The Power of Now.
Yes, Eckhart Tolle. Yeah.
It's going to be a hard read, and it's going to be a long read.
We should do a cast
It's one
on
of
that.
those you have to go back and forth between it, because it's
Heavy.
so heavy and there's so much information in there.
And he's German, so on top of that, it's very dry. It's
Yeah.
very emotionless.
But there's power there in observing your thoughts, being present, and being able to just kind of observe your thought and let it go. And that has made, I think, both of us much better at being in the moment and being open
aware of it too.
to see things and have things come to us, and being able to clear out our minds more.
It starts by being able to just beyond the thought.
Yeah.
Going beyond the thought. There is no reality other than the present. We think of time as this linear construct of the past is what made us who we are, and which is true, but at the same time, I can be whoever I want to be in this moment if I let go of stuff. I am not defined by my past. I'm not defined by the future that hasn't happened yet. So if you can grasp onto that potential and that power, it's life-changing, but it's as simple as it is, it's really complex too, to actually live it, to apply it, to be.
It's hard.
It is, because we're
It's
trained and
hard.
conditioned to see the negative, to fear the unknown. There's just a lot there. Yeah,
And you have
we'll do a cast to
constant,
stream on that.
stimuli coming at you all day long of, whether it's TV ads, radio ads,
This is where meditation comes
Yeah.
in. Clearing, slowing.
which is another one.
Putting a break in that constant,
Practicing your meditation is huge for this, because a lot of times that's when you're going to get your downloads.
Yeah.
Is when you're
direct communication.
Yeah, when you're just sitting there quiet with yourself, and
Inspiration.
it's hard. Meditation's hard. Sometimes you're just not there. You
That's why no
can't-
one
you can't
wants to do it.
Right.
It is.
It's hard to sit with yourself in silence.
Uncomfortable too. I think not even hard. It's uncomfortable. Like,
It's hard.
I got other stuff I could be, but
it's hard sometimes because you have to sit there with yourself. And some people, when they start, do not like themselves.
it happens.
It's hard.
because it's not just the good that's there.
No.
It's the ugly, and
It's usually not good that's there.
but it
because
wants
the
to
good
be-
is the surface level.
it
That's
wants to be
what I'm
engaged.
projecting to you so that you like me. But the inner, that's the dark stuff. That's the stuff I love.
Yeah, and that's the shadows we need to incorporate and we need to make peace
Yeah.
with, because there's treasure in that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got. Okay, back to signs and
Signs,
language.
language.
So I want to come back to this as a personal language between you and your spiritual connection to the other, right? To the ether, to the
Mm-hmm.
universe. It can be radically different. While we can
100%.
incorporate things, like say we say this penny stuff and you start seeing pennies and you correlate it to someone, then it can,
Well, let's stop right there. Why do we correlate pennies with Grandpa Loisel?
Okay, so
So maybe this will help give you some perspective.
yeah,
of
so why it's personal to me. Why, when I was 10 years old, they gave me for my 10th birthday a jar full of pennies. And I was like, it's like socks, right? Like, it's just, thank you for this
They
$1.50.
gave the weirdest gifts, didn't they?
Weird. And they were
Weird
like
gifts.
collected, they weren't even
Yeah.
like wheat pennies or
No.
like, it was just
They
pennies.
gave us
And
coins,
so I was like,
collector coins. Yeah.
so $1.50, but it's in a mason jar with a like.
All pennies.
You know, but it's grandma and grandpa, so you're like, thank you.
Thanks. This is the best thing I've ever
I'll go buy,
received.
a chocolate bar, and they will hate me as I dump it out on the counter. So it's just a weird memory.
This is before Coinstar for all of you
Yes.
younger generations. We
Back
had to
in
roll
my
them.
day.
We had to roll them. Yeah.
So,
Do you remember that? The paper,
Yes.
you had to roll the pennies? Yeah.
That's what I mean. It was just like, is this a
Ridiculous.
gift or a punishment? Like,
It's
anyway.
both.
Anyway, so
So we correlate that with him.
But it wasn't until later, until like probably my mid-20s, when I started putting in that memory. I remember finding a penny one time, and I was going through something. I wasn't even that aware yet, like I would be now, and I just had that thought pop into my head. Timing, feeling, remember the Trinity of like how you recognize a sign. It was a thought from them, a thought from Grandpa, and he was trying to bring my recollection to that gift. And that's how the relationship or that language started. And so from then on, I found pennies. Like I missed a flight one time. Actually, I found 3 pennies. I went to present my paper in Arizona. Really scary. My paper got accepted, but they invited me out to this conference. So I fly out, and I'm on my own, new university. I'm by myself. I always travel with someone because it's more fun. And then I get up to the podium, and there's a penny on the podium. I was just nervous as shit.
Like, what are the chances for that?
Well,
though?
I mean, but some
know,
people
but
like
still.
lucky pennies. So, maybe another speaker's like...
I know, I'm just
so
saying, though.
whatever. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know, but I'm like, okay, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
lots of pennies on... Because people,
Are there?
culture, right?
Yeah.
But then I found another penny after I presented it at the mixer afterwards.
Aww.
And it was almost like a, well done.
Yeah.
Well done. I'm proud
You
of
did
you.
it.
I just felt I felt after I found the penny and the timing. On the way home, my flight got canceled. And because I was riding on a friend's buddy ticket. Girl, I was poor. We're in college.
I know. I used to be a flight attendant. I know how that is.
Right?
You
But
gotta
thank
fly
God for them,
on
too, because you get to
standby.
do shit. But yeah, I was sitting in the airport, and I was just bummed because I had taken this, the rental car, dropped it off. I was there for 4 hours, and then they're like, you're not going to be able to do it. And so I'm like, I don't think I can get another flight until next morning. So I'm going to sleep in the airport? Like, what am I?
Reminds me of
This is
that
not the
movie.
life. Yeah, yes. This is not the life I want. And so I got like a bagel and I got my coffee, and I'm just like not feeling down on myself because I was just drained after this whole weekend. And I look down with my coffee and I see a penny by my foot. And I swear I go down and I reach, and as I touch it, I hear on the airport intercom, Mr. I'll come to counter, blah, blah, blah.
I love
You're able
that.
to get on the flight. We just need to confirm,
Yeah.
quickly, blah, blah, blah.
Get
I touched
Get your
the
ass
penny,
over here right now.
it was just my grandpa saying, I love you. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
So happy. So
I
proud of you.
remember one time when I was going through my divorce, I was at a hotel in a training, and I was running, fully exhausted myself, because that's kind of what I did in those.
Real quick, it's always when we need
Yeah.
it. That's the other
Yeah.
thing. You don't know how much a sign can just turn your
Yeah.
day around. It's always when
Yeah.
you need it.
So I was running. Anybody who knows me, I hate to run. Unless somebody's murdering me, I'm not running. I'm walking. And I was doing that because I had to get all that emotion out of me because I'm a feeler. And so the movement, and I exhausted myself to the point where I didn't even think I was going to make it to my room. I was putting the towel in the basket, and there was a penny right on the floor, and I picked it up, and it was for the year coming up. It was a new penny, and I just started bawling on the floor of the gym. I'm sure everybody thought I was crazy.
That was healing,
But
though,
it was,
right?
in that moment, I'm not alone in this.
Healing.
Yeah, it was so
it
healing.
changed your course. Like, it changed your perspective. And that's what I mean. These things seem so simple to the onlooker. Like, to me, it would be like,
I'm sure everybody was like, you found a penny, why are you bawling hysterically on the floor?
She's got some issues, obviously, that are coming up. But
I mean, don't we all?
Spirit uses these things as a catalyst to, one, bring healing, two, give us direction and guidance, but three, just love on us.
Comfort.
Let us know we're connected. And just knowing that you're seen can transform your life.
I call them winks. When I was little, when people would wink at me, adults especially, it made me feel special. Like somebody would wink at me and I'd be
Do
like,
you want to talk about this? It sounds weird. Were they in a van?
daddy issues.
I mean,
No, like I just always thought it was cool because I couldn't really do it. And so when somebody would wink at me, it was like, oh, I see you.
It's fun.
And I
I'm
was
a
like,
winker.
oh, I love that. And it made me feel special. So when I see things throughout the day, because I see millions now, I call them my little winks. Like, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you winking at me.
well, let's
Loving on me.
let's talk a little about how these signs can differ. I think there's a lot of good examples. So pennies may not
Yeah.
mean this for you. You mentioned mom. This is in the development of our language.
Generational.
Yep. What you learned from home. Think about things you've learned
For us, a
in your
lot of
family of origins.
a lot of my stuff comes either in meditation or in dreams. I do a lot of dream interpretation. And
You're really
one
good
of
at
the symbols for me is reptiles. So alligators living in that underneath
Subconscious,
murky
hidden,
water.
hidden.
And snakes, obviously,
So
have kind of a
everything has-
universal, but not. Because
Everything
we
has a
also have
foil,
friends
right?
who love snakes. And so for us, that's something that generationally was kind of passed down because those in my mom's dreams meant the same thing. But for other people, they might be a crocodile enthusiast and love crocodiles, and they have tough skin, and that represents like an endurance to them. Or
Because it depends on what the
Yeah,
situation
it's
you're
the
going
meaning
through,
you put
the way it
to
comes.
it.
Yeah. So if you get it in a dream, like there's a lot of context there that you need to consider. So let's clarify a little more. Like you were saying, generationally, our mom used to get dreams, and she would have. I remember snakes specifically, reptiles for her. While reptiles can be powerful and snakes are one of the most magical, powerful symbols you can have, like regeneration, renewal, like protection.
what's that symbol you put when you need to put something in the middle of a sentence? It's like an arrow up. We need to insert here
Yeah.
that this comes from the church.
Yes.
Because
her experience of the church.
And that's what we mean by you put the meaning to something.
Yes.
The snake to her was Eve and the temptation and the deceit that came with that. So snakes to her were evil.
But spirit knows that, and it's
So they use
using
it.
that to talk to her. She would get dreams
Yeah.
that were protective. She would be like, no, we can't do this, or no, you shouldn't hang out
Or
with
she
this
would
person.
call us in the middle of, we'd be in our 20s, 30s. She'd call us and say, I had a dream that there's a snake around you.
You know what I just thought about?
Yep.
In the last episode, I talked about when someone we were involved with found out he was positive. 3 months before, my mom called me with a dream where I was standing in like a spotlight, all dark, but I was in the spotlight, only thing lit up, and around the ring of light at my feet, just outside the edge, she could see movement, and it was snakes, lots of snakes, like Indiana Jones, like in the pit kind of thing. They weren't coming into the light, but
Yep.
if I would just make one step out, like I was so close
Yeah.
to danger, I just thought, okay, what do I do with this?
It's hard when somebody gives you something.
Yes.
Which kind of leads into
Why we need to be aware and in touch with
Yes.
our intuition. Yeah.
because even as in touch as I am, a perfect example of that is Judy told me not to do something, and I did it, and I got my sign that it was okay because I was stuck in my head of, oh my God, did I go against what I was supposed to do? And so you have to really trust yourself
Yes.
because you
Yes.
know better than
Listen to
anybody
your gut.
else.
How
Yeah.
does it resonate? Yeah. You can't approach these things in fear. And
No,
that's everything.
and it should
Spirit
never
never
be
sends
fear.
you stuff to make you afraid. It's always protective. It's always guidance related.
But let's clarify that too, that sometimes fear is really fear of uncomfort.
Yes, discomfort. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Of the unknown is a big one too. Yeah, we can talk dreams as a whole nother one.
Yeah.
But why I come back to snakes though, for mom and her church and like her background, her world perception, we kind of took that on and a lot.
Yeah,
and
it's
so now
generational,
I had
cultural.
this year I've had 3 alligator dreams, and it represented someone who was coming into my life. And sure enough, you actually confirmed it. I was like, this is just crazy. Like, what is going on? My intuition saying, she's like, Dave, he's the alligator. And it just, I even had an alligator come up to me on the dock, like swimming up. Anyway,
Yeah, I remember.
love spirit.
I remember.
So literally animal
Yeah.
sign.
I remember getting a lot of alligators in a dark time. And I think, again, that comes into play of alligators to us have a negative connotation because they're in the
Predators and
murky water. You can't
hidden.
see them, and they attack when you least expect it. And it's,
Silent.
yeah.
Why I was saying this though is because our friend Justin, he works a lot with like nature magic, shamanism. And he has a pet snake, and he actually just gave me snake skin
it has
for a
a
ritual.
beautiful
And
relationship
yes,
with it.
but he is very connected to the earthern energies and like that regenerative, the darker side, the underworld kind of shadow working aspect. He's a shadow worker, and just fascinating. So his relationship and language is completely different than ours.
Yeah.
So just trust what you feel, and you put the meaning on things. You ascribe the meaning, and spirit will respond to
Or
that.
sometimes they do. It depends too who you're trying to communicate with.
But it'll make sense.
I
right?
know when I'm trying to communicate with certain members that have passed of my family, it's going to be things that I would, when I think about them, it would make sense for me.
It's 222. Anyway, go ahead. ADHD.
It's 222. That would make sense for them. It would make sense for me to see that. So if I'm trying to communicate with them, if I'm trying to communicate with my spirit team, I have set up a very specific kind of language with them.
Guys, we're going to stop the episode here this week. I know it was abrupt, sorry, but you get more time with me. So you're welcome. But seriously, I feel like these episodes are really intense and just information packed, and I want to give space for you to digest. I want to hear your responses too about this signs book. Are you getting signs? Are you asking for signs? What are they? What's spirit sending you? Is it warnings or confirmations? How does it make you feel? Let's start the dialogue. You can comment below, but you can also find us on the Garden of Divinity, where we want to start building this community. A big part of this platform is to normalize this experience of talking about these intuitive, not so certain things or not so provable things in our lives, but no less real. And so if we can normalize talking about that with like-minded people, it will only serve to empower us and validate us. So I hope you're having a good time. Check us out next week on the Trauma Twins. It is hilarious. Sarah's got some wisdom that will just... Oh, I even got her a Christmas gift with this phrase on it because it was so good. But you will love the episode. Stay excited, and we will see you next week. Love you guys.